just first off, man, how's it feel to be back on the bike?
Yeah, it feels really good. Stoked to be back. Yeah, obviously I've had that really strange injury on the bottom, and it took quite a while to heal. But yeah, it feels really good to be back on the bike. Definitely hard, kind of getting thrown into the deep end midsummer. Just trying to get back in shape and build yourself up. It's tough, but got to start somewhere. So we're trying. We're putting in the laps.
Yeah, how is when you're on the bike or even post at the end of the day? Is the injury still bothering you? You notice it pretty significantly?
Yeah, it's getting better, but it definitely hurts when I sit down on the seat. It's pretty much because I injured my tailbone pretty bad too. So it's like when I sit down, it's like I'm sitting on a nail, and pretty much it feels like my seat cover is made of sandpaper. But
jeez.
It's getting better. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but it's good to just be riding and back training and all that. So I'm happy with that.
Now, I know you've talked about this on Pulp and probably numerous other places, but can you just quickly give us a rundown on the injury, what happened exactly and how deep the cut was?
Yeah, so I was at the 13th round at St. Louis, Triple Crown, and it was the second lap of the first race, and I just caught an edge in the whoops, and it just sent me left. And I knew I was heading towards the finish line structure. And yeah, there's nothing I could do, and I just had to let go of the bike, and the way the bike got propped up, and then my ass went through the foot peg. So, long story short, had a massive gash, got rushed to the hospital, was in the hospital for a week. I had 3 surgeries. First surgery, they had to close up the artery that I hit. That's why I was bleeding so bad, was I hit an artery. Second one, they just wanted to make sure that I didn't, rupture anything else inside, like my anus or anything like that. Or if I would have woken up with a bag outside my stomach, but I didn't, thank God. And then the third one was kind of just to make sure everything was clean and tidy and it was all good. And then I was going to have a 4th surgery, but they never ended up having to do it. So that was good. So yeah, just pretty much got stabbed by a foot peg. Then it went really deep though. It went I want to say they said, I don't know, I think it was 10 inches deep or something.
Yeah,
it was really, really, really deep. And it wasn't like they could just sew it up, because if they sewed up the wound, there was such a big hole that the hole would fill up with fluid and it would get infected. So, they had to, I just had to let it heal from the inside out, which is a very slow way for it to heal.
Right.
But it was the only option. So we had to pack it every day with gauze once or twice a day. It was kind of a whole ordeal, but good thing I got a trooper of a wife, and we got through it.
Yeah, besides the gauze, I guess you also packed it with goggles and an exhaust pipe from FMF, it looked like at one point.
Yeah, exactly. There's all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's definitely not unlike you to at least have fun with a negative.
Yeah, I mean, it was, obviously we have sponsors and they still need to get promotion. And when you're injured on the couch, you got to try and still do your part. And Donnie at FMF actually came up with that idea because it was an idea from Austin Powers. So it was quite funny. Right. It turned out very good. Everyone got quite a good laugh out of it. And it was good. It was good.
So compare this injury, very uncomfortable, very painful. You talked about with Steve Mathis and the guys on Pulp, a while back about not being able to get comfortable for hours or days on end. And then in 2019, when you did your dislocated your hip, you talked about that being the worst pain you'd ever dealt with. If you had to pick one of those to relive, which one is worse?
For sure. The one that's worse was the broken and dislocated hip. That's the worst pain that you could you can ever be in. It's actually a scientific fact. It's equivalent, I guess, to a woman giving birth or something, which I feel really bad for girls.
Yeah.
Because it was that bad of pain. Like, I was dying in the hospital. But this one, the pain was bad for the first few days, but then it got a little bit better. It was just very uncomfortable because I had to lay on my side so much. I just wanted to lay on my back, and I couldn't lay on my bum. I couldn't sit on my bum. Like, it was just like the most uncomfortable, most annoying injury. So it was, just not ideal, but we've gotten through it now.
Yeah. During that downtime, you're still in the hospital, maybe the first few weeks, like, do you sit down with Sarah and go, man, maybe it's just time to call it? Or are you like, I can't wait to get back on the bike? It's like most racers, about a week is as long as you thinking about quitting, and then it's time to get back to it.
No, quitting wasn't in my head. I've got like a little bit of a plan in my head of when I'll finish and stuff. And, this was just something that was very fluke. It was very just, like, it was just the fact that I had to finish. Like, I was fine. Like, I was still riding the bike when I, like, had to let go of it, It was just, like, unfortunate. So, yeah, I was fine. I just wanted to get this thing healed up and get back to training and riding.
Let's go back a little bit in your history. So 2011, you win the outdoor title, and I believe you were second in Supercross East Coast that year. The following year, 2012, if I'm not mistaken, you finished second again, but had the shoulder injury right there at the end, missed your title defense. Do you remember, is that something that you look back on and go, man, I wish I could have that moment again to defend the title? Do you have any career regrets looking back?
Not really. Just the worst thing that I wish I never blew my knee out so many times. That's the only thing that I wish I never happened, because it just affects me in everyday life. Obviously, it affected my career, and ever since I blew my knee out so many times, I've never been the same. I've always had to be pretty protective and not, just ride with a free and open mind. It's always on my mind. So I just wish I never, tore so many ACLs. But other than that, not really. I don't have any regrets, because I can truthfully say I've tried my best every time.
Yeah.
And fell short a lot of times, won one championship. But, I was always trying, and that was just all I had to give. So, I'm something I'm proud of, and it definitely makes it easier when you walk away,
Oh, good to hear. Good to hear. You're always such a positive guy, at least out to the public anyway. So, yeah. How about in 2013 and 14? I was looking back through some of the results and stuff, and those 2 years, you were kind of going back and forth between 250 and 450, depending on certain series. 14, you rode 450 Supercross, I think on the East, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
that wasn't planned. That was just because Chad Reed got injured and I filled in for him.
But do you feel like that was do you think anything would have been different if you had just focused on one or the other, or was going back and forth not that big of a deal for you?
No, it wasn't a big deal, because so 2013, I felt like I should have won that championship. I got injured in a heat race. I collapsed my lung, and Will Hahn won that title, and he was riding amazing that year. But I wanted to ride a 450 for outdoors, so that's what I did. And unfortunately, the bike locked up on me, and I dislocated my shoulder. So then I was out for that. So in 2014, the plan was just to be 250 all year, and that was the plan. And I was kind of a little bit out of the title chase due to I think I had like a bad race or something, and Chad asked if I wanted to ride his 450 because he needed a rider out there. So I said, sure, why not? And then we just had fun with it. I think I did 3 or 4 races, and Mitch was fine with it, and then jumped back on the 250. So
yeah,
it was fine. It was fine. And then that year, I went back, stayed 250, and actually got another laceration at Glen Helen, going down the hill at the first outdoor round. And I put a big gash in the back of my knee, which was pretty gnarly. But that one, they just sewed up, and then it healed really quick. So, that's kind of
Yeah, you're just one of those guys with so much talent, so much skill, but injuries, just have really, unfortunately, put a damper on a lot. Like, you never really got a chance to get momentum. Not very many seasons did you have momentum throughout the whole season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
250 days was like the first 2 years were really good. And then, I was always in the title contention and had the red plate most of the years. But, yeah, I had a lot of shoulder injuries kind of seemed to be my problem in 250s. And then when I got on 450s, it was like my knee. And, it was so gnarly. And that's why my career's been so tough, because I'm always having to come back from that and crawl my way back. And, it's tough. But I always believed I had the talent and, the work ethic. Sometimes you just need a little bit of, like you said, momentum on your side. And that's the thing with this sport. It's dangerous. We ride 3 to 4 times a week. We race on weekends. It's a lot. It's a very dangerous sport. It's not like tennis or basketball. It's a high risk every time. So these things happen, whether it's mechanical or your own fault.
Yeah.
So being healthy is so important. And that's why I feel like Jason has had such a good career. Obviously, he's a phenomenal rider, same as Tomac. But being healthy is so important. It's like McGrath. I think he maybe broke a collarbone once or something.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like, if you take other professional sports, like you just talked about how gnarly it is and practicing throughout the week, you take professional football. It's a pretty physical sport. But, like, the quarterback during the week, just throwing balls. He's not getting hit, right? Or tennis, like you mentioned. You could take a day of tennis probably and just hit balls and not run back and forth and maybe take a chance of blowing out your knee. But in motocross, supercross, if you don't go out there and put in almost 100%, you're more likely to get hurt, because you're not riding at focus, completely focused. So you have to go all in every time you're in the bike almost.
Yeah. No, you have to be all in. Like, it's just so important to, for one, it's our job. So you have to be, all in and do your best. But even just the safety factor, to be in the best shape you can be. And, it's like me coming back right now. It's like I'm riding with all the guys and I'm off the pace, and it's crazy. Like, I can be on that pace, but it's just going to take a little bit of time because I need to get back in shape. And it's like kind of fun. I feel like for the first time when I first got back ready, my reaction times were just a little bit slow, reacting to things, when things get a little hairy. So, yeah, it's important to always just be as ready as you can be, put your best foot forward and do your best. And that's all you can do at the end of the day. Whether you're winning or you're top 10, top 15, top 20, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you have tried your best, and that's all you can really do,
In the last few years, you've been right around the top 10 in Supercross every year, had some really good finishes. But the way this sport is, like, whether it be the media, myself included, the keyboard warriors, if you're not podium and on the podium, the people are like, well, he's just not, he's not cutting it. He's not good. Why does he have that ride? And that really feels unfair because a guy that gets 10th, 11th, 12th at the Daytona 500 in NASCAR, that's still pretty successful, at least in my eyes. How do you feel about the way the sport sees, judges results outside really the top 4 or 5?
Yeah, that's just your average fan that's saying stuff like that. People within the sport really know, it's honestly, like, my goal is always to be in the top 10, top 8. That's, of course I want to be in the top 5 and podium, but, like, I just don't sometimes I just don't believe that I'm at that pace, because, like I said, I have such a knee that's not that good, that I've had to keep quiet for so long, because every year I was always on a 1-year contract. So I was always keeping my knee under wraps, because, who wants to hire a guy that's got a dodgy knee, right?
Sure, yes.
So I felt like me being in the top 10, top 8 was really good for what I was dealing with. And I could never be vocal with these things because I was always trying to get a job for the next year. But now that I'm 30 years old, next year will be my last year racing Supercross. So like, I don't really care anymore. And it's just, I wish that like you could be a little bit more vocal, but you're not going to screw yourself out of a job. You know what I mean? So, I always felt like I was doing well for what I was dealing with, because I was always dealing with quite a lot. And yeah, there's sometimes I could barely even walk to get on my bike, but I could somehow ride my bike halfway decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I've raced with a torn ACL for so much of my career that people didn't know. Like I said, because I was known to be injured a lot, so teams never wanted to take that risk of 2 years. It was always a 1 year. So it always kept me on my toes, which was good. But it was also hard because sometimes I wanted to get my knee fixed or get an injury fixed, but I couldn't because I just wasn't in a position to get it fixed.
Yeah, and that's got to be mentally, that's got to be such a struggle. Like, you need to do this to be better, but you can't risk not having a ride.
Missing races, and it was always very, at the end of the season when I would know if I had the ride or not. It wasn't like I knew I was staying with the team,
right?
So it was always at the end. So that's things that I think a lot of the general fans don't know or understand what a lot of riders are going through. Or it's like, even last year I was dealing with Epstein-Barr, and that was super gnarly. And, they always just see who's on TV and, top 4 or 5. And obviously those guys are phenomenal, but dude, with what I was dealing with, I was happy to be top 8, top 10, top 5s here and there. Like, I was happy with that because there's no one else out there that was dealing with the stuff that I was dealing with, I understand everyone goes through a lot of stuff, but I've had to just really keep a lot of my stuff quiet. Just so I had a job,
Yeah, that sucks. Like I've been talking, and through some of my interviews lately, I've been asking this question or bringing this topic up because it sort of fascinates me as I look at forums and chat rooms, and like I feel like the fans, the keyboard warriors, as we like to call them, that are like, well, the same thing I already said. Why does this guy have a ride? Or even like an Eli Tomac, like why is he having such a bad race today? And I don't think the average person goes, you know what? These guys are human beings. Like me personally, Jamie, Dark Side, whatever. If I get in a fight with my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, the next day, like I can't focus on my job. I'm like, dude, I got to figure this out. Like, is she going to forgive me or what? Like, real life stuff happens. And it gets into most people in the real world, their day-to-day job, and it affects them. They go to work pissed off. They go to work sad, whatever. But at an elite athlete level, like you guys, we just talked about having to focus 100%. If you get in a fight with Sarah and then you have to go to the track the next day and race at the highest level, like reality is you're not going to be at your best more than likely. And the fans I don't think about that. Like, who knows what happened to Dean Wilson Friday night before the Saturday race?
No, it's true. There's, but I feel like a lot of people that were in the industry kind of have more of an understanding. Mm-hmm. And like people, I'm used to it. I always got comments like, dude, how does this guy still have a ride? And to be honest, this year, I'll be honest, I kind of lucked into it because I was kind of trying to I was trying to be on the team, but I kind of got lucky with Zach retiring, and that gave me that slot. And but my plan was very simple. It was be good to my sponsors, promote my sponsors the best I can, get top 8, top 10, because I know that's just the best that I could do, and just be the best I can on social media. And represent. So there's been a lot of times where I've gotten asked to do overseas races, and I'm getting picked over guys that are pretty damn good riders due to the social media side of things, and because they want someone that can help promote the race as well, right? And so it's kind of, for me, it was important to have at least another value other than cracking top 10s. like, what else am I really bringing to the table? So that was like something that I felt like I was pretty smart on, and just tried to, I was just being myself, on social media. And I'm not a shy person. I don't really sugarcoat anything. And I would just post whatever I felt like. And I think that was a value for me to be on a team, that Rockstar Energy really liked that. So they always had my back to be on the team because, I promoted Rockstar very well. And they have a big say on Factory Husqvarna.
Let's go to a super positive now. You and your lovely wife, Sarah, are going to be mommy and daddies. Dude, how does that feel? Life-changing. Like, I'm so excited for you guys, but just how does that feel?
We're so excited. I'm glad, like, how it's all worked out. This is definitely how I've seen it happening. I feel like I'm fully ready for it now. And, I really wanted a boy, but, we can't be too picky, but we ended up we're going to have a boy. So really excited for the next chapter. This is something that I'm really looking forward to. And you never know, this might give me that next spark, and maybe it will help my racing as well. But it's definitely something that me and Sarah are looking forward to. And we're just like really excited. So it's awesome.
It is. It's great. I think you guys are going to be such awesome parents. Do you know what your plans are for the end of 22? Will you be back outdoors, World Supercross? And then do you know what the future holds in 2023? Anything you can tell us for the future?
Just that I'll be Supercross only next year. And, unfortunately, outdoors is just way too, it's too hard on my knee. Yeah. And my knee just simply can't take the outdoors. It's, obviously I'm going to come back to outdoors this year and finish off, but it sucks. But I'm at the age where just got to make some smart decisions now. And, I'll just be racing Supercross.
Okay. This is my last question for you. Do you feel that you can still win?
I would say I feel I could still win if all the cards were aligned and I was riding really, really well. The last time I felt like there's two times where I felt like I could have potentially won. One was A1 2019. I should have won that one. I was in the lead. I kind of had some issues with my goggles in the rain, and then I went back to fourth, like within the last 5 minutes. I only had 5 minutes to go.
Yeah,
so that's one I felt like I should have won. And then the second one was I felt like I was close to a win. Was Salt Lake City 2020. I got on the podium, but I led some laps. Jason would have won the race, but his seat broke.
Oh, yeah.
His seat fell off. Seat fell off. And then Zach won, and I wasn't too far behind those guys, And that's when the team went 1, 2, 3. So for me to win, I mean, hey, I'll be honest with you. It's not very likely. But, I mean, of course I would love to. That's the one thing I always wanted was just one Supercross 450 win. Just one main event, But it's tough. These guys are so good, so fast, and they're such athletes now. Like, I don't know. I feel like there was maybe like 3, maybe 4, maybe like a few years ago, like that were fully athletes. Like, I don't know. Now I feel like there's like 8 to 10 that are just so, I don't know. They're just so good, and they're so, physically fit, and it's the level that the 450 class is at now is just insane.
Yeah, it just continues to rise every few generations. I don't know if generations is the word, but every few 4 or 5 years, like it's just another step up, right? People learn, people see what it takes to be successful, and then they try to take another step, and then more guys say, "Oh yeah, I can do that too." And yeah, there's more knowledge now, I think, than there has been in the past. More information, so yeah, it's just getting crazier and crazier, and it's been a good season to watch. But man, we need our Dino back.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm gonna give it my best next year, and we'll see how it goes. It'll be good.